87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.
First of all, welcome. This is the Club Wealth TV podcast. We're pretty excited about this. We've got Coach Chelsea Dillick with us, and Coach Chelsea, just tell me what tier are you in? First of all, what do you?
I'm in tier 4.
You're in tier 4, which is that a new development? Did you just move up to tier 4? Is that pretty recent?
About 8 months ago.
About 8 months ago. That's pretty cool. All right. So tier 4, for those people that don't know what tier 4 is, that means that Coach Chelsea, so by the way, Coach Chelsea is a Club Wealth coach. And that means that she is closing between 150 and 250 transactions per year, which is a pretty big deal. So pretty exciting stuff. And so what I'd love to know. So first of all, how long have you been with Club Wealth? How long have you been a client of Club Wealth?
Since 2017, January 7th. I'll never forget the
January 7th, 2017. Awesome. That's cool. I love that. And when you joined Club Wealth, what tier were you in?
I was in tier 1.
You were in tier 1. So you were doing somewhere between 0 and 25 transactions a year when you joined Club Wealth. And 4 years later, you're doing between, well, actually, because you moved up 8 months ago. So basically 3 years later, in 3 years, you went from 0 to 25 transactions a year to 150 to 250 transactions a year in that 3-year period.
Yes. Sure.
That's crazy. That's insanity. First of all, that's awesome. Good for you. That's amazing. I hope that people watching understand that that's a big deal. Now's the real question. How the freak did you do it? Okay, let's start with that. What did you do? And I get the coaching's helpful and all that stuff, and I love that, and that's great. And you can talk about some of that stuff too, but I really want to know, what did you do to grow from tier 1 to tier 4 in 3 years?
Oh gosh. A lot of things. One was building a team. So it isn't like all of these transactions are done myself, of course. So having a team, and then also having help. That was the biggest thing, was really having help. And in the beginning, one of my biggest struggles was delegating anything because I didn't want to. I had the mindset of I can do everything myself. Or maybe I can just do it better. I think I know how I want this. So yeah, I'm just going to do it. Just don't worry about it. And so the more I learned to give, the better and more we've been able to do.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of people suffer from that, because they think, well, nobody's going to do it as well as I can. And truth be told, I got to assume that there's a lot of things that are being done by your team that you could probably do better than they could. How do you reconcile that? How do you get over that?
I remember a past coach said, good is good enough. And at first I was like, I cannot relate. No, it's not. And then after a little while of being so bogged down with all the things, I realized it really is. It really is good. And maybe there are some things I could do better, but at the end of the day, they're getting done. And the other thing is they're doing a lot of things way better than me, way better. So it really is. It all works out.
I love it. That's awesome. And so how good do they have to do it? Is 80% good enough? Would you say that that's good enough, or does it need to be 95% or where are we I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good with 80%. I'm good with it. And sometimes we see things that we tweak, and that's all of us, as a whole team. And everybody isn't going to do everything 100% perfect. So, and that's the other thing about brainstorming. We've got something, okay, I've got this is how I did it. What do you think? And then we can tweak it from there.
So let's stay on this track for a second, because I think there's a lot of people that struggle with this. And in terms of growing a team, right? So there's a lot of people watching right now that,
that might say to themselves, well, gosh, I'm just going to keep it small, keep it all, right? And gosh, I don't want 10 team members because that's 10 more headaches and all that. I mean, what would you say to that?
I understand, because I thought the same thing in the beginning. I was really nervous about growing, and I realized that you really can't scale. It just doesn't financially even make sense to keep it that small. Typically, you have one person leave and there goes half of your team. It really doesn't make sense, just all the way around. And the more you grow, the more opportunity there is for your team members as well. So, and we've realized that over time. So it's very important to continue to grow your team all the time.
Yeah. Well, okay, but is it harder or easier now? I mean, because again, first of all, how many team members do you have now?
5.
5. And what are they? How many of those are agents? How many of those are administrative team members?
We have 7, I guess. So we have 2 full-time admin staff. So full-time TC/office manager. She started with us first. And so she kind of does a lot for the office, and then also does all of our TC work and a lot of other random things. And then we have our marketing coordinator / I call it happy agent coordinator, because she also does smaller one-on-ones with agents every week to keep them engaged and kind of go over anything that they might need. So we've got both of the girls who are amazing. And then we have 5 team members. And so 2 of them have been with me for about 3 years, and both crushing it. One will do probably $9.5 million this year. And our average price range is like $230. Yeah. So yeah. And then the other one will probably do $6 to $7 million. I mean, they're both doing phenomenal. It's incredible.
Okay.
And
so then what's that?
Our other agents are newer, getting started.
Okay. So your other 2 agents.
Yeah. Our other 3 agents.
Sorry, your other 3. And okay. So I
didn't include myself in those numbers either.
Okay. So then all right, that's good. So then I guess the next question, or the next big question is it easier now than when it was just you, or is it harder now when it was just you? Because or when it was just you and one assistant?
A little bit of both. I mean, as far as schedule wise, for me, I'm able to be in here for agents more because I'm not selling as much as I was. And I shouldn't say that. Number wise, I am. Transaction wise, I'm not. But just because I have more help, so I'm able to be around more. And that's what we really needed. But so schedule wise, it is a lot better. It's easier, but there are a lot of things that come with having a team that are super stressful. I've shared with all my agents, when one of you guys feels something, I feel it, and I know, and I can't, it has to be dealt with, or you know what I mean? I feel what they're feeling. Mm-hmm. So I go through it with them.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, so then here's the question. But overall, in terms of putting up better numbers, in terms of higher profitability, is it safe to assume that you're more profitable now than you were when it was just you?
Yeah, and it's just going to get better. It will. I know the more we're scaling, the better that will get too.
Okay, so as we talk about that, and this is one of my pet peeves when we talk about scale versus growth, right? Because scale is really something that happens at a very high level, right? And it really happens without you, and it's impossible. In my opinion, it's impossible to scale unless you've got full-time recruiters and your business is growing with or without you. Now, that being said, growth happens, and it should be happening wherever you're at on the spectrum. Question I have for you, and I kind of wish Coach Omar was watching this right now or joining us right now, but the question I have for you is, if we know that we're more profitable as we grow our team, and as that's been the case for you, why are you not growing your team more? I mean, you've got 5 agents on your team right now. What's stopping you from adding 5 more?
I can easily answer, and it's a very vulnerable answer, but it's just, it's me. It's just me. I had some setbacks earlier this year, and it kind of messed with my mind a little bit. And so I finally reached a place where kind of getting out of that, where we recently got 3 new agents in the last 2 months. So now I'm finally kind of out of that where I was, but it's really just myself.
Okay, so let me start with this. I love the transparency and the vulnerability. I really do. And I think that people watching this would agree with me. It's hard, right? But most people, it's hard to be vulnerable and transparent. But I think that's where we really learn the most, right? Is when we realize that, hey, you know what? Chelsea's human too. She's got crap that goes on. She's got stuff that, sets her back and challenges. Are there any of those that you're comfortable talking about? And if so, what are they? And if not, that's okay. But I'm just curious, if you are comfortable talking about some of those setbacks, I think that would help our audience to really kind of resonate with you a little bit, and really, be able to identify with you and understand that, hey, I'm going through something similar, or I went through something similar, and
Yeah.
and if she can deal with it, maybe I can learn to deal with it. Maybe if she can overcome it, maybe I can find a way to overcome it.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One is that I know I have not just high expectations of somebody, but I have a lot of belief in them. So when they start with us, I'm 100% positive they're going to be successful. In my mind, they're going to be successful. And if I give them the tools, they're going to do it and it's going to happen. And realizing not everybody wants it as much as you do is really painful. It's really hard to realize that. And it took me some time to realize not everybody wants what you want for them. And so after some time of kind of realizing that, and I've had some amazing agents, and some are not just with our team, but they're still with the brokerage, but also that they have other goals. Some of the agents are wanting to be more into investing, and that is completely fine. But it wasn't all what I really expected. I thought that you come in, I pour everything into them, and then boom, everyone will want that same thing that I wanted for them. So,
And it just hasn't been the case in every case.
not in every case. Yeah, not in every case. And it's just real. It's real life. And that's okay. But that's what I've realized.
So, okay. So let's talk about those numbers for a second. So you've had some turnover, obviously. Okay. So when you say a little bit, so how many people have you hired in the last 3 years altogether? And in terms of agents, and how many of those are still with you today?
So I've only hired a total of 6, 7.
You haven't even had turnover hardly. And that's what's got you emotionally messed up to where you can't go recruit more. Okay. All right. Now I get to coach you. All right. Hold on. All right. You know where this is going.
I already know.
Yeah. You know where this is going. All right. So, okay. Hold on. Do you know that you need to recruit?
Of course I do.
Okay. How many people do you need to recruit?
At least need to be at 10 agents, more than that eventually, but right now.
So in the next, how long, how soon do you need to be at 10 agents?
Preferably by the end of the year.
By the end, I would agree with you. All right. I'd agree with you. So, good news is this is being recorded. So, no fear there. So then the question I have for you is, will you recruit, because you're at 5 agents now, will you recruit another 5 agents between now and the end of the year?
I know I can do it. I know
you can too, but will you?
Do it.
You'll commit to doing it?
Yeah.
You will. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So we got a camera. So okay. You're in tier 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know exactly where this is going. She's like, I thought I was just doing a podcast.
Now.
I totally lost you for a second there. Say that again.
How did this turn into that? I knew this was coming because I knew where I'm supposed to be really and where I'm at now. So before I even got on here, I was like, yeah, I already know. I'm definitely going to get called out. I've been in Clubhouse forever. And this is kind of where I'm at with agent wise. So I'm like, yeah, definitely getting called out.
Yeah. You're right. Okay. So first of all, tell us, what city are you in? So we'll see if we can't solicit some help for you.
Okay. I'm in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which is 2 hours south of St. Louis.
Okay. So that said, if anybody watching this knows of somebody that's looking for a great team somewhere just south of St. Louis, Missouri, please reach out to Chelsea. Now, Coach Chelsea, you know how it works. You're in tier 4. So we do $1,000 per tier. So will you commit to having 5 agents to having a net total of 10 agents on your team by December 31st, 2022, or you'll allow me to run your credit card for $4,000?
I will do it.
You will do that. Okay. And now you know that you're going to private message me afterwards and you're going to tell me who your favorite political party is, which I think I already know, which means I'm going to give it to the candidate and or party of the other side that you don't like. And I'm going to do it in your name, and I'm going to give them your cell phone number. And I'm going to tell them, hey, obviously you need to reach out to me for more and greater contributions in the future. So that will hopefully be the stick that will get you to do it. And the carrot is obviously you get to grow your team and you'll make more money. All right. So enough on that. Let's move on to the next topic. So, what strategically have been, other than growing your team, what strategically have been the things that have helped you the most in going from tier 1 to tier 4 in just 3 years? And by the way, that's really good. That's exactly what you should do. You should be moving up 1 tier per year. And so you've done that. That's really impressive. And that's great growth. So what are the strategic things that you did to get there besides hiring more team members?
Really just, of course, listening to my coach, or really just continuing to add, so number one is the help, that was my first like denial. And then once we added that, I realized how amazing it was to have help. And that's really been a huge growth on our team. And even for me personally, being able to grow my own transactions. But I don't know specifically what it is that's really helped us to grow besides just being newer into real estate then and just naturally hustling and getting it done.
Okay, so go deep on that. I want more of that. I want to know more about when you say hustling. What are you hustling doing? What exactly are you doing every day that's hustling? What are your habits? Why do you guys, do you guys show up to the office every day? Do you have a huddle? Do you do call nights? Like what are the things that you actually do that are moving that needle?
Yeah, one of the big things whenever I got into real estate was I saw everybody around me not working in the office. And I realized, well, if I'm in the office, first of all, back then there was floor time, so if I'm in the office, then maybe somebody will just walk in the door. Even then it wasn't huge, but still. So I just wanted to be in there. And then I realized that really the top agents are in the office all the time. So I told my team that when they joined, any agents that join us, I tell them you need to be in the office. And for the most part, everybody's here unless they're on an appointment, at least for the mornings during prospecting time and, for the huddle. And I mean, just everybody's in the office.
Okay, slow down. So first of all, you're with a traditionally virtual brokerage. Okay. And we won't mention it. We're brand agnostic here, so we're not going to mention EXP or anything like that, but I'm totally joking. So you're with EXP, right? And so everyone knows that's one of the virtual models, or they tout the virtuality of their model quite a bit. And that's fine. But you've decided, hey, if I want to be successful, I'm going to look at what everybody else does. I'm going to do the opposite, and it's worked well for you, right? So you're doing the in-house stuff. You're coming to the office every day. But you just said, okay, we have a huddle and we have prospecting time. Tell me about that. So what does your day look like? So every morning, what time do you get to the office? What time do most of your team members get to the office? What do you guys do? And how long does that last?
We're all here by 8:00. It's not mandatory that they're in the office at 8, but we do have our huddle at 8:00 every morning. So we start our day. I mean, kids get dropped off at school and we're all on Zoom or whatever, or honestly, most are in the office every morning. So we do our huddle, which is about 20 minutes. Our huddle that's probably one of the biggest areas of growth, why we've grown as a team, is what our huddles look like. So having the huddle, then really right after that, we immediately start, and I can't say that everybody sits down with their headsets on and starts prospecting. I wish I could say it's 100% consistent, everybody's in here, but very real. We do our calls, we do our follow-up, and then, it's really just consistency is what it is. It's just everybody's really consistent. So there's not, I think I'm going to work this week. I think I'm not, which is the life of, I think, most realtors. We're all consistently working.
That's huge. I like that you said, hey, it's not perfect. We're not like hardcore about it. Like Austin's team is like super hardcore about it, but they're all, the average age on his team is 21 and the average tenure in the business on his team is like 5 months. Like they're all brand new young people on his team. And so, they have to be like super religious about that. You guys are coming into the office, you're doing your prospecting, but it's not like everybody's headset on and super focused like that. Right. But it's working because it's at least activity and it's at least moving forward in the right direction on a consistent basis every single day. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Exactly. I love it. Okay. All right. So, and that goes on until what time of day usually? So that's
Typically
between 8:00 and lunch.
It's a lunch. Yeah. Everybody starts dispersing typically around 10:30, 11. Everybody's kind of making their way out of here.
Okay. So for at least a couple hours though, they're making some phone calls.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. I love it. All right. What would you say? So for somebody that's new in the business, somebody that's thinking about, becoming a real estate agent, or someone that's a brand new agent trying to figure out what to do next, if there's somebody's thinking about joining a team, what would you say to these people?
The incredible thing about real estate is it opens up a lot of other doors. And that's why a lot of people get into real estate, because it's not just about selling. There's the team, there's investing, there's so many other things that go along with it. So I think if you're considering going into it, then you need to realize that it isn't just about selling. There's so many other opportunities. So I always say real estate is like a huge puzzle and it will never be put together ever, because there's always other pieces that you can be adding, something else you can learn. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're thinking about really, if you're already licensed and you really want to get into it, or if you really want to build a team, you need to be doing a lot of business yourself. You really need to to get in and figure out how to get the business yourself because you're teaching somebody else. So it's really hard to teach somebody something you've never been through, which is why I hired Club Wealth, because I knew that my coach had already been through what I was going through and could coach me along the way. So I think yes, we're a team lead, but we're really coaches, just like we coach our coaching clients, same exact thing with the team. And that's also made a huge difference. I'm now doing one-on-ones exactly like I do with my coaching clients. I've got my Trello board and I go through everything, just like I do with all my coaching clients. And it's made a big difference. We walk back through their goals and where they're at. We walk through numbers and we walk through any struggles, transactions, all kinds of things. And so I think that is it. Get somebody who's really been through this before, and that'll probably be your biggest, paying attention to somebody who's been through this before.
I love it. That's awesome. And so, by the way, Brad, I just turned Brad's camera off real quick. We're just wrapping up with Chelsea here. Brad, I'll bring you on camera in just a second. Okay, so I really do love that. All right, so let me ask you this. Other than hiring 5 more team members in the next few months, which you're going to obviously have to put some serious effort into now, and you're going to post that in the Facebook group, I assume, as soon as we get done here, and tag me and your coach in it. And who's your coach now, by the way?
Robbie Johnson.
Coach Robbie Johnson. Love her. She is fantastic. I just love her to death. Okay, so other than that, what's next for you? What are you working on right now? What's going to take your business to the next level right now? What's going to take someone who's already doing 150 to 250 deals a year to the next level?
Yeah. So what we're working on now is really building out, really trying to figure out our ISA game. We've been with a few different companies, but now we're looking at bringing it in-house. So that's going to be our next thing that we tackle.
I love that you're bringing that in-house. I really do. And in-house can mean multiple ways. There's physically in-house, and then there's, using VAs or people, and VAs can be people in other parts of the world or just in other parts of the country even, or even people locally that work from home. That being said, I really like them in-house, and I have both. I've got a lot of ISAs. Couldn't even tell you, right? Probably 20 or 30 ISAs right now. And some of them are remote and some of them are in-house. It's a lot easier from a training and cultural standpoint when they're in-house than it is when they're remote. But I've also used a lot of companies for it. And don't get me wrong, there's some companies, and we do refer people to companies from time to time for ISA help. That's particularly when they're in the beginning of that process. But the reality is, it's very powerful when they only work with you and they're part of your team and they're part of the culture, and it's just, that's what they do. So good for you. So what's your goal then? How many of these ISAs are you going to be hiring?
So we're just kind of figuring out how many we need, but I figure we will probably at least need 2 to 3 just to cover all hours of the day and maybe overlap a little bit so they can role play together. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but probably something along those lines.
Good news is you're working on it. So I just love that that's what's next for you. And I can't wait to, I'd love to have you come back sometime to do one of these podcasts with us and fill us in on kind of how that's going, and look, we know you're going to have bumps and bruises along the way. That's just part of the process. And we always do, right? We're going to fail forward, but I'm excited to hear how that goes for you, because it really is a game changer. I would encourage you, if I might coach for just a moment, I would encourage you to make sure that they're also helping you with recruiting, as part of that, at least in the beginning, and then until you're at a point where you're ready for a full-time recruiter.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Good stuff. And then now you're going to come, I believe, to Business Strategy Mastermind Conference. And are you teaching a class there? If I heard correctly?
On social media, which is what I thought that maybe we were talking about today, but that's fine. So,
well, tell me about it. What are you teaching us at Business Strategy Mastermind Conference?
We're talking all things social media. So really how to build your brand on social media, being your authentic self, how to get out of being camera shy, which is really hard for a lot of people. I don't know that a lot of people feel super natural on camera. So this is more just how to kind of shake that bug and just post and be yourself, because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see you like with a bunch of, just trying to create stuff. They want to see you. So.
It's funny you say that, because literally right before you said that, I just thought, she is so natural on camera. She's just, and I can tell you, for those of you that are watching, I can tell you that Coach Chelsea is no different in person than she is right now on camera. Like this is you. Like this is truly who you are, and this is how you act and how you talk and how you communicate, and your bubbly self, and you got all this energy, and you're the exact same way in person. And I love that about you. And so I'm hoping that you'll be able to really convey that to people in your class. I'm assuming you probably will. And really, I guess what I'm saying is I'm hoping they will learn it from you, because it really is powerful, because people do get to know you. I'm excited that you're teaching the class. It's gonna be awesome. And so for those of you that are watching this, if you don't already have your ticket to BSM, by the time you watch this, it might be too late, because we're really, really close to selling out. So but just in case we haven't sold out yet, go to clubwealth.com/BSM and get signed up for the event. It's in Anaheim, California, and see if you can't come to Chelsea's class. Now, finally, Chelsea, you are, again, you're 2 hours south of St. Louis, in a town nobody's ever heard of. But that being said, if people want to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can email me at chelsea@thinkteamdillick.com or call me at 573-579-2545.
Freaking love you. You are awesome. Yeah, well, of course, I'm connected with you on Facebook. Absolutely. Coach Chelsea, thank you for taking the time to do this with us today. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you on again. And seriously, I can't wait to see you in, what is it, just a few weeks. So I'm
like 2.5 weeks.
Oh my gosh, is it really that close?
I think so. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I have another conference on that side of the world.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's right. You go to your company's conference. That's yeah. Don't give me anxiety like that. Jeez, my blood pressure shot through the roof.
No, you have a little more time than that.
Oh my gosh.
I just have a lot of trips in October, a lot of things going on in October.
I know you do. Wait, are you going right from EXPCon directly over to BSM?
No, there's a week in between. So
there's a week. Okay.
See my kiddos for about a week and then I'm back out.
Good stuff. Right on. All right. Well, keep us posted. I can't wait to hear how this ISA thing goes for you. And we'll see you in about 33 days.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thanks, Coach. All right. Now we're going to go to Coach Brad Burns. Coach Bradley Burns from San Antonio, Texas. What's happening, brother? How are you?
What's going on? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing really well. So now, that being said, I'm going to just cover some quick basics with you here. And so you are out of San Antonio, Texas. You're one of our coaches at Club Wealth, and you've been in the business for how long now?
So I've been in the business right about 6 years.
About 6 years. Okay. And how long have you been in Club Wealth?
Almost 2 years. I started
2 years.
Two Januaries ago.
2 Januaries ago. And what tier were you in when you joined Club Wealth?
Tier 2.
Tier 2. And what tier are you in now?
I'm in tier 3 now, working to get to tier 4 as quick as possible.
Getting close to tier 4. Okay. So what that means is when you came on board to Club Wealth, you were doing between 25 and 75 transactions a year. Now you're somewhere between 75 and 150 transactions a year. I say that because I want our audience to know the credibility behind the message, and I want them to know, why they should listen to you. And guys, here's the thing. It's really important that we not, like, if you're in tier 1, you shouldn't be listening to somebody who's in tier 7. You should be listening to somebody who's in tier 2 or tier 3. If I'm in tier 2, I want to listen to people that are in tiers 3 and tier 4, people that are just a little bit ahead of me that can really help me get to that next level because they just did what I did. So Coach Bradley, tell us, what was the key component for you for getting from tier 2 to tier 3?
I'm gonna say 2 parts. First part is getting systems established, figuring out the right position to place people in, and then the next part is going to be definitely recruiting.
Okay, and so let's start with recruiting, because actually I'm really excited about this for you, especially because when you joined Club Wealth, it was just you and your wife Delilah. Is that correct?
We had 2 agents, so
okay.
It was my wife and I, and then we had an agent join. We joined in January. We had an agent join the team in October, and then one joined the team in December. Okay. So we had 2, and I was like, I can't build a team without having somebody leading me. I can't expect to lead other people.
Okay, well, that's when you signed up for coaching and all that. Okay, yeah. That's awesome. And I'm not trying to make this a pitch for coaching. What I'm really trying to dive into is exactly what happened, because what you guys don't know about Coach Brad Burns, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got 18 people on your team right now. Is that right?
Yeah, we just hit 18.
And that's not counting you and your wife. So it's 20
not counting us too.
You and your wife. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you've done that in under 2 years. And so guys, this is big. All right. So here's what I want to know. What was it you did to grow from just the 4 of you to 20 of you?
Really establish systems and realize what value we bring as a team. So a lot of times people think, hey, I'm going to join a team. It's all about leads. And like you and me know, it's not just about leads. There's the structure, the accountability, the systems and processes. So we figure out, and through Club Wealth, we figured out a way that we're able to let that be known, all the benefits of being on the team. So when people sit down and look at it, they're like, oh man, this is actually a huge benefit to me. I can make more money and work less hours being on a team versus being solo.
Okay, so you said you figured out a way to do that. What's the way? How do you do that? That's very
yeah. So in BSM last year, it was here in San Antonio. That was my first event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the coaches had a class where he went through his recruiting presentation. So we got a copy of that, switched some things up, made it our own, and used that to display when we're having our recruiting interviews. Majority of the time we have the recruiting interview, people are wanting to sign up right then and there. And I would say right now we've kind of switched over from prospecting recruits to attracting recruits. So a lot of people are coming to us, hey, we want to join the team, we're interested in the team, we see what y'all are doing, we see where it's going, and we want to be a part of it.
Okay, so so that's very intriguing to me, because I think that's a position everybody wants to be in, right? Everybody would love to have, recruits just falling in their laps and, saying, hey, we're really interested in learning more about your team. So there's really two questions. We still got the not completely answered question on the, what is it that you changed that's now better articulating your value proposition? But then there's also this piece of how are you now attracting? So let's start with the value proposition. How are you better articulating your value proposition to make people want to join your team?
So besides showing them all the systems and processes they do, our goal when we built the team and started building the team was to provide value to our agents. So we want our agents to focus on the 5 main jobs of being an agent. Like Gary Keller talks about in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I'm sure every realtor's read that. So where it's lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice and role play their scripts. We wanted to take everything else besides those things off of their plate. So where they focus on that and they're able to build up their business, not only sphere, but also the leads that we provide.
So that's what you started articulating better in your recruiting appointments.
Yeah, we started articulating that. And then we have a breakdown on what it costs to be an individual agent versus what it costs to be an agent on the team. And even with the team split, they're almost double as profitable as they would have been if they were a solo agent.
That's huge. And being able to show them that, and so, and I know Austin does the same thing where they map it out on a big, piece, one of those big 3M pieces of paper, and they draw it out and people can see that visually. And that's huge. I love that you're doing that. Okay. Now let's go to the next piece. So how did you transition from chasing business to attracting business? Right. Because, everybody starts off their chasing business, right?
Yeah.
So at some point in time, you transition to attracting. How did you do that?
So that's that's the hard question to explain, because it kind of happened as the team built up, as the team grew. Other people were seeing what was going on our team, and that made them want to be a part of it. So I teach classes here in our office to the new agents that come into the office, called Ignite classes.
How often?
And once every 6 weeks or so.
Yep.
So those classes start up every 6 weeks.
And how long does the class run?
3 hours.
Okay. So
it's usually from like 9 to noon.
Hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I teach that class, and then going through there, a lot of times people are learning about me, learning how we operate our business. I'm showing them, hey, as an individual agent, these are the things you'd be doing. And I say, well, on our team, we don't have to worry about these things because our admin staff or other things are taken care of for this. So we focus on the lead generating part. So we're able to do more business in less time. And then usually people get to know me during that process and they're like just attracted to it and like, hey, I want to be a part of you guys. majority of the time, so my wife Delilah handles all of the recruiting appointments. Majority of the time, when she's going on these appointments, the people are like, "Hey, where do I sign up?" Before we even go through anything, I'm ready to go.
Because now the people that are at those appointments, have they already been to that Ignite class with you? Is that
A lot of them?
okay? So that's been a big help. It sounds like.
So yeah, it's either that or agents on our team just letting them know what we're about and what we represent, and those two things have been the biggest increases of our recruiting.
Okay, so I got to ask you this because this has been one that I've been pretty passionate about with a lot of our clients lately. Are you doing regular educational classes for people outside your brokerage?
We have not been. I'm pretty active on social media, and I get a lot of engagement from agents outside the brokerage. I know we talked about that a little bit while you were in San Antonio this week, was starting to host some of those things. But that's definitely something we're going to start doing.
So that was my next question. So that's good news. So it sounds like you're going to be doing that. That's awesome. How often do you think you're going to be doing those?
Probably once a month.
Once a month. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And look, that's a great start. If you could just do this once a month, I really feel like you'll start to get some traction out of that. I've got, I had that conversation with Austin today. I had another client in Tennessee that had a great conversation with Cindy about that, and she's going to start to do that as well. But I think to your point, when people see you and you're just bringing them value, it's a natural transition. They just say, "Hey, I'd love to join your team. What would it take?" Right. And now it's a very different conversation than, "Hey, I'd like you to join my team. Let me tell you what it's going to take." Right. It's a totally different conversation. All right. I'm like, what's up there? You got another screen up there? What are you looking at?
Oh yeah, I have another screen. Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, what is going on? That's so funny. All right. So that being said, let's back up. All right. So I'm a new agent, or let's say I'm an agent that's not performing at the level I would like to. What's your advice to them? What can agents do right now with what's going on in the marketplace to grow their business?
What we've been doing is, first of all, tracking everything. So you want to track your calls, your conversations, your appointments. There's a quote that I heard that sticks with me: "The lack of accounting is the lack of accountability." So we're tracking that, getting back to the basics with open houses, sphere of influence. Yep. There's a ton of buyers out there that are running around with a pre-qual letter and without an agent that are out looking at houses. It's not as it was 6 months ago, in my opinion. So a lot of times people might call that agent off of Zillow, go see that one house. That agent isn't a very good converter, and they're not necessarily in the position where they have to work with that agent to get that house, that they're able to go look around and look at open houses like that. So if you're competent in what you're saying and can relay clear messages, a lot of times you're able to attract that business that they might have seen a few houses with Zillow agents. And they come to us and they're like, "Hey," we go through our open house script, everything with them. We're like, "Man, these people really know what they're talking about." And we're able to pick up quite a bit of business like that.
Oh, I like that. How often are you holding open houses?
So our team members are typically holding 2 a week.
Oh, wow. Each team member is holding 2 a week?
Typically.
Good for them. Okay.
Quite a few
of the lot of open houses with 18 team members. That's a lot. Yeah.
Quite a few of the new ones are holding. So they'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they'll do the weekdays during the evenings. We usually like to get the weekday ones maybe near a school, or something where parents are going to pick up their kids. Smart. And we catch a lot of traction that way. And I mean, one of the things about open houses that I think a lot of people don't recognize, or a lot of people don't take advantage of, it's not just about the open house. It's about the activities that you can do around that open house. So you can invite the neighbors, door knock, get listings that way, circle prospect around it, Facebook ads around it. There's so many things you can do around that open house to get business. It doesn't matter if one person walks in the open house or not, because you've already talked to 50, 60 different people about the open house.
That is so smart. I love that. Good for you. And I love that you're doing the open houses around the schools in the evenings, like kind of, just around the time parents are going to be picking their kids up. I think that's brilliant too. Okay, so other than open houses, what are you doing? I want to come to your perfect day. You're like, what does your morning look like? And we talked a couple of days ago, people were talking about, the miracle morning and all that kind of stuff. I'm curious, what's your day look like? What time do you get up? When do you get to work? Do you go to work or do you work from home? Fill us in.
Yeah, so we have an office at our brokerage that we work out of. So my thing, I like to be able to drop my children off at school in the morning. So I'll get to the office at 9 a.m. I know that's a little bit late compared to like Austin does.
That's all right.
But I enjoy that time being able to drop off the kids, get them ready for school, things like that.
Yeah.
We do our daily huddle from 8:30 to 9 because I drop off my kids at 8:30. So during that time, after I drop them off
Zoom,
on the way to the office. Yeah, well, we use Google Chat. I like Google taking advantage of all their free stuff. So we do it over Google Chat. Get to the office between 8:50 and 9. At 9, hop on the phone, start prospecting, whether that be recruits, for sale by owners, Z buyer, just depending on the lead source.
Do you break that up by time slots? Like, do you say from 9 till 10, I'm calling recruits, from 10 till 11, I'm calling follow-ups? Like, do you do something like that, or is it?
Yeah, so typically from 9 to 10, I'm calling the new leads that might have came in overnight that came to me. From 10 to 11, it'll probably be some follow-up calls for sale by owners, expires, depending on how many of those are available. 11 to 12, typically I'll start working on talking to some new recruits, doing some things like that. 12, do lunch. 1 o'clock, I'll really go back through and start doing my follow-up calls. 2 o'clock, let's see, I'm pulling my schedule here so I could. 2 o'clock, I typically like to save for appointments. So I build out my appointment slots already in my schedule. So that way, when I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm saying, hey, do you want to meet at Wednesday at 3 or Thursday at 4? What works best? Give them the 2 perfect options.
Yep.
The TPO.
I love
it. 4 o'clock follow up. 5 o'clock will be another appointment. So if I have a 3 o'clock and a 5 o'clock, I usually cut it down after 6 o'clock and then start over the next day.
I love it, man. That's awesome. I love it. And now, what about your team members? Are they doing something similar, or talk to us about them? Is it a requirement? Do they have to make calls? Do they not have to make calls?
Yeah. So depending on their full-time agent, part-time agent, what's going on with that, we kind of talked about that a little bit this week. So we want our agents hitting at least 15 contacts a day, whether that be through Facebook, Sphere of Influence, out of our main pond, the Z buyer prospect list.
So when you say contacts, you mean you want them talking to at least 15 people a day. Good.
Yeah.
Love it.
A lot of people get wrapped up in dials, and dials don't mean a thing unless you talk to somebody.
Yep. Now, what about appointments? Do you have a KPI for appointments, or is it just make sure you get your contacts?
So we're rolling that out. We're switching over from tracking that in CTE to tracking that in the Club Wealth tracker.
Oh, Stat Tracker. Good.
Stat Tracker.
You're going to love it.
We're working on switching that over.
Music to my ears.
But really, I like to go based off, the one thing. So in my opinion, the one thing to get the appointments are going to be the contacts. And if we notice people are hitting their contacts and they're not getting the appointments, it must be what they're saying. Or they're saying the wrong things. So then we'll go back and tweak what they're saying, work on their scripts and things like that. But really the one thing that makes everything else either unnecessary or easier is hitting the contacts.
Okay.
So that's our main.
Can I challenge you for a minute?
Absolutely.
I want to challenge you to split test it. So what I want you to do is I want you to say, okay, this week it's going to be all about contacts. Next week, it's going to be all about appointments set. The following week, it's going to be all about appointments kept. Does that make sense?
And see which one. Yeah.
See which one gets you the best results. Just keep it interesting. I think it'd be a fun experiment. And, it's funny. So for me, back in the day, I was always really focused on calls, right? So it was all about calls. But to your point, I can make 1 million calls. If I don't talk to anybody, well, that's not very productive, right? And so Coach Luigi, Coach Luigi,
Yeah.
Coach Luigi Caprio told me, he said, Michael, I want you to start focusing on appointments set instead of calls or contacts. And so we started focusing on appointments set, because what happens too is if you're focused on the contacts, sometimes what'll happen is your people will be making calls and they're like, okay, I've got to get to the next contact. So they're hurrying through phone calls just so they can make enough contacts. But if the focus is appointments, they'll talk to a lot fewer people probably. Like I bet you'll see your contact number come down, but the appointments will go up. And that's my hunch, is that's probably what you'll find. And I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your data when you get it. But man, if we could just get more appointments, how valuable is that? But I love that your team is doing it. And so do you tie lead distribution? So for your inbound leads, leads you're out prospecting, that you're buying leads and all that kind of stuff. Is your lead distribution tied to them contacting a certain number of people or anything like that?
So we have the tiers system. So the first tier is going to be the pond, Z buyer prospect list, them doing open houses, things like that. In order to move up to the next one is tracking their contacts, the 15 contacts a day, tracking that in the tracker, on the daily huddle, those 5 days a week, and then less than 15 overdue tasks on our CRM. And that'll push them up to the next tier. From the next tier, it's set 3 appointments
a day.
And then continue on with the other thing. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Good. Okay.
And then continue on with the other ones, and then push it up to the next tier. So that's something we rolled out last month. So we're still working on getting everything tweaked out with it. But it has increased people remembering to put their trackers in. And it makes the lead more valuable. I know if you're just giving out all kinds of leads everywhere, people don't really care about it because it's not their money.
Well, they don't even think about the fact that, hey, if it's a seller lead, I'm probably $200, $400, $500, $600 into that seller lead. And if it's a buyer lead, I could be anywhere from $2 to, $100 for a buyer lead. And they just, you're right. I think that, if it's not front and center, they don't necessarily realize that or remember that. Okay. So next question I have for you is first of all, with your KPI of the 3 appointments set per day, that's pretty aggressive. I like that. I know a lot of teams do like 2 because, it's pretty attainable. Like if you can't set 2 appointments a day, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be days when your team members aren't going to hit the 2 or the 3. Do you give them the grace of saying, hey, look, if you hit 15 in a week, then you qualify, or does it have to be every single day? It's
more for the week.
Okay.
Because we were looking at doing it every single day, but it's so much work it shouldn't be me doing it, but it's so much work for anybody to go in there and track that for 18, 20 people a day.
Yeah.
That's almost a full-time job in itself.
Yep. It's a lot of work. All right. And okay, good. So now talk to us about your lead follow-up. So you get these leads coming in, you distribute them to the people that are making the calls, and my light just went off. And the people that are hitting their KPIs. But what about the lead follow-up? What's the frequency? What's the tenacity of follow-up? Like, what are you requiring, or what's working for you guys on a lead follow-up standpoint?
Yeah, so when typically internet leads, Z buyer leads, things like that come in, we're doing what's called the 10 days of pain.
Yep. That's great. In fact, I think Ben Kinney originally created the 10 days.
Yeah, and actually we got that. I mean, we use Brevity CRM.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Which I was excited to see. That's a Club Wealth approved CRM.
They are an approved CRM. That's right. I know Ben really well. He's a good guy.
Yeah. So we actually just snagged it off of there. You sign up for there, you get all their auto plans. Snagged it off there, tweaked it up a little bit.
And I like what you said, when you tweaked it up a little bit, you didn't change everything 100%. I would encourage anybody that, if your CRM I should say, it depends on the CRM, but with most CRMs, if it's got automatic drip campaigns already built in, use them the way they are. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Just use them the way they are. Now, if you want to tweak them, or if your CRM doesn't have drip campaigns, or if you just want some really, really good ones, I'd recommend, reach out to Club Wealth, and we've got our AIM team, right? The Club Wealth AIM team. And we can literally input our drip campaigns into your CRM and turn them on for you. But just reach out to the clubwealthhelp.com and they'll show you how to do that, or just send an email to what would be clientcare@clubwealth.com. Okay, that being said, in the last few minutes that we have here, what do you want to say? What do you want to share with our audience that would move the needle for them?
That's a good question. So in my opinion, I really believe that everybody needs to constantly be recruiting. So before real estate, I was in the #1 recruiting company in the world, where like 1 in every 3 people worked at. You know where that is?
What the #1 recruiting company in the world? 1 of 3 people. It has to be the government.
McDonald's.
That's McDonald's. Really?
Yeah. So I did 10 years at McDonald's. Make it sound like jail. But I worked at McDonald's for 10 years. I went from crew person at 16 all the way up to GM, and there was really nowhere else to grow. So from there, I moved into real estate. And it took me a couple years to kind of correlate the two and put the two together. But real estate's so much like McDonald's. It's all about systems, processes, recruiting. And if we can have the systems, the processes, and can constantly recruit, we're going to build a huge business.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. So let me ask you this then. So on the recruiting front, what are you doing to proactively recruit?
So we're doing a Wise Hire. We had a VA we actually just let go. We're working on replacing. And she was working on getting all the people from Wise Hire, putting them into our CRM so we can start dripping on them, start scheduling interviews and bringing in outside people as well. We did quite a few recruiting.
Hold that thought right there. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to stop Keith's video just for a second there until we get done with you. Go ahead.
So yeah, we did.
So you said you're using Wise Hire. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you go to clubwealth.com/Wise Hire, that'll take you there. So keep going.
So using Wise Hire, bringing them in, automating the process through our CRM, dripping on them, setting up appointments to meet with them. We went through a lot of people that aren't licensed, which is part of the process.
So you hire more experienced agents or more agents that are new to the business?
Typically more agents that are new to the business. A lot of times they don't have the bad habits. And actually one of the agents that just joined us he was in the training classes with my wife 4 years ago. And he was like, "Hey, I've been watching what y'all been doing for years. I figured out solo agent isn't what I want to do. I'm looking for the accountability, the stability, the systems process the team has. And I want to be a part of y'all." And we've brought him on, and I mean, he's killing it.
Hang on 1 second. I'm gonna stop Coach Kelly's video for just a second there. I'll bring you back into video in just a second here, Coach Kelly. And I just enabled the waiting room so that I can keep people in the waiting room before we so they're not jumping on in the middle of your video here. But that being said, okay, so what tips would you have for somebody that right now they want to grow their team, they want to recruit, and they're not sure how to do it? What would be the first thing you would do? What exactly would you do if I said, "Hey, Brad, put a gun to your head, you got to recruit 5 people in the next 3 months"? What do you do?
First of all, add value to people. I feel like that's one of the big ways that we're attracting people is I'm adding value through the Ignite classes, and people are seeing that and want to be a part of it. So thinking about that, thinking about doing the lunch and learns like you talked about, it's almost the same thing as doing that Ignite class where I teach the new people, except I'm just not providing lunch.
Get your lender to do that.
Yeah. So really adding value to people is the biggest way to attract people.
Love it. Love it. All right, man. Anything else you want to share in closing today?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so again, folks, Brad is in San Antonio, Texas, where the weather is hot and his business is even hotter, and he's hiring. So if you know of somebody that's thinking about joining a team in San Antonio, Texas, to have them reach out to Brad. And not only that, but he's also a great guy to send your referrals to. So if you happen to be online and you're in one of the Facebook groups out there, maybe it's ours, maybe it's somebody else's, and you see somebody's looking for a great agent in San Antonio, well, by golly, tag Coach Brad Burns in that. And guess what? I bet he would really appreciate it. He'll remember you and he'll take great care of the referral, and he'll probably want to reciprocate down the road. Other than that, finally, Coach Brad, how would someone reach out to you if they want to contact you?
Yeah, so you can contact me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook quite a bit. My name is Brad Burns on Facebook. Visit our website, which is SA Home Viewer, SA for San Antonio. Or give me a call, 210-387-9404.
I love it. Awesome stuff. Well, thank you for being here, and have an awesome day, man. We'll see you soon.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
And by the way, I'll see you at Business Strategy Mastermind.
Oh, absolutely.
In 2 weeks. So.
See you then.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. 87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you, because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
Sign up for a strategy session at clubwealth.com/strategy session.